So I'm finally going to be talking about my ballet experience, finally. I know that this isn't gonna be interesting to everybody, but it might be. I don't know. So it's gonna be parts to it or else it'll be way too long. So I'm just gonna talk and then stop talking eventually. I started dancing when I was 4, maybe 3. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. You just do pencil rolls at that age. Just, you know what I mean? I was in ballet and karate. I also did like other things, but those were my main things. And then when I got to a certain point, it was probably like 6th grade, 5th or 6th grade, I was given the ultimatum ballet or karate because they ended up being on the same days. And I chose ballet, obviously. And I think I was talented. I went to a studio that definitely trained you to be a professional ballerina. Certain studios are just for fun, and you enroll your kid just so they can have a good time and they can like get their exercise in and blah blah blah. That was not really what my studio was. It was definitely teaching you proper technique and teaching you exactly basics. So a lot of the people who I started ballet with ended up quitting because it's boring. When you're a kid, it's not exactly a fun time to like learn all of the positions and learn what muscles have to be where, and it's just not like a party. Like, you are like doing boring combinations to classical piano music, and it's not a blasty blast. Definitely the studio that I was at was very technical, and I appreciate that because my technique is very strong. That doesn't mean that I'm very talented. It just means that like I can hold my own in a class of like professionals because my technique is on that level. Does that make sense? Okay. Whoa. The lighting changed hardcore. It just got real bright all of a sudden. But anyways, for some reason, I stuck with it. And then after 8th grade, I ended up moving to New Zealand, and I went to a school where the dance studio was a part of the school. So it was just like all one, and it was a different style of dance. So I grew up with a mixture of a lot of different types of teachings. And then when I moved to New Zealand, it was RAD training, Royal Academy of Dance Training, which means that you have to test to get into the next levels. So you have like a set bar and a set center, so every combination is set and you have to memorize it, and you do it all the time. It's the same stuff over and over again. And then you take a test. You like go in front of like a judges. It's like, it's not like a contest, but like they just test whether or not you're ready to move up a level. So when I moved to New Zealand, I was 14, and I got into intermediate ballet, which I think is the level that they put you in if you've never done RAD before and you're however old. They're like, you'll probably be in intermediate. So I did intermediate for like probably 4 months, maybe less than that, because I ended up testing out and into advanced. I think I like skipped something. There was like intermediate, advanced, and then advanced. I think I skipped intermediate, advanced, and I went to advanced, I think. I don't really remember, but it's fine. So yeah, it was just a very different way of doing things. In Chicago, it's just like the teacher just teaches you combinations, and I think it's better because you can pick up choreography quicker when you're used to that kind of thing. I had a teacher, and specifically Mr. Long. I moved up levels quite quickly at my original dance studio. This is kind of going to be all over the place because like the timeline is very strange. But in Chicago, I was in a level with people that were a little bit older than me, and then I went to do Joffrey Ballet's Nutcracker. So I did Joffrey Ballet's Nutcracker probably for 2 years. Yeah, I did that for 2 years. But my dance teacher felt that I was behind because I had missed a lot of classes because I was rehearsing a lot with Joffrey. So she wanted to keep me in the level that I was in, and Mr. Long, who was the director of the studio, wanted to advance me into his class. I don't think that I was ready to advance into his class because I didn't know a lot of the steps. Like, I remember taking his first class and being like, I was real small. Like, this is like older. This is all like professional level and like people in high school. So it like starts when you're in high school, and it was just, and I think I was in 7th grade when I moved into this level, and I was straight terrified. They were doing like entrecôtes and royales and ceases, and I was like, I've never done a beat in my life. This terminology probably won't make sense to you, I'm very sorry. But there was just a lot of things that I was like, I haven't done like most of these steps. Why did I get moved up a level? I don't know. So I kind of freaked out, and I went back to my old teacher and I was like, can you just teach me how to do a couple things? And I think she was upset that I moved up because the director kind of like went against her. But Mr. Long was my favorite person in the world, my favorite dance teacher in the world. So I went to New Zealand for a hot second. Like, I wasn't there for that long. And I performed a couple things, Paquita, Beatrix Potter, I was a little mouse, and then a beast. So I wasn't in a whole lot. And then I came back and I was real serious about ballet. I went to high school. I came for halfway through sophomore year. So this is my sophomore, junior, senior year. I was at back at my old studio again. My old studio has a studio company, so it's similar to a professional company, except it's just like high school students. So it's just low-key professional and you don't get paid. So like while you're in high school, it's just your opportunity to perform more often than just like an end of the year recital is essentially the point of the company. So there were rehearsals on Wednesday nights and Saturdays, and class was, I've always taken class like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I think in 8th grade even, I was doing like 14 classes a week because I also took jazz and character and point and tap. Just take tap. But in high school, I was mainly focused on ballet, but I also did jazz. And point comes in with ballet. I personally think that there wasn't nearly enough point at the studio that I went to, and I think that I suffered a lot from that. But that's a whole other story. So during my high school years, I felt like I was getting worse. I think that middle school was my prime. I think like 7th and 8th grade, I was smaller and thinner. Obviously I didn't like go through puberty yet, and so I was just like able to do a lot of the things, and I feel like people like gave me a lot of attention when I was in middle school. So when I got into high school, I felt really lanky. I definitely had a growth spurt probably 8th grade, and I just felt like my limbs were all over the place. I just felt like, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. And I definitely still had a core foundation that was strong, but I kind of feel like I was all over the place. And I was really tall, and I was definitely, there was like one girl that was taller than me in our company, but yeah, I was often put in the back because it's just really, I was a giant. I don't think I got like quality roles until senior year. I was given like, there was 3 leads in Tarantella, and I got to be one of the leads in Tarantella, but I wasn't given like special treatment necessarily, but I knew that I really loved ballet. So at the end of my senior year, nearing the end of my senior year, actually it was probably the beginning of my senior year, I felt my Achilles was really hurting me, and it was hurting for a little while, and I thought it was just like inflamed, so I would ice it and whatever. And then I specifically remember one rehearsal, I heard something crack. I fell and I heard something crack. I know that it was bad, and I cried a little bit, but I got up and I was like, okay. I started going to physical therapy at Athletico. Athletico told me that I had tendonitis in my Achilles. So they were giving me all of these like stretches and exercises to do to like strengthen the tendons in my Achilles, and they just told me to ice it and rest it when I could, which was like, I could barely rest it ever. My junior year of high school was, I think, my favorite year. I had a lot of my friends there. My best friend it was her last year, my junior year, and I just really enjoyed junior year a lot. After junior year, the summer after junior year, the director that I talked about earlier, Mr. Long, he passed away. And he was just a really great guy. He was funny, he was hysterical, and he taught me so much, and I definitely took him for granted a lot, and I didn't show him how much he meant to me when he was here. He got into a car accident, and he just definitely inspired me a lot. And when he passed away, I felt like such a desire to show him that I could be great, because I think he saw potential in me that I didn't really see in me. And I do remember the last words that he said to me was that I was a pain in his ass. And it was a joke, but it wasn't. And I just definitely like wanted to prove to him that I could be a ballerina and that I could be really great. So when senior year came around, I really wanted to work hard. However, there was a teacher who came in to replace, obviously not replace, but to start teaching the classes that he taught. And I definitely was very immature when I was in high school, as far as treating people really poorly. I showed little respect for people in authoritative positions, unless I really liked them, obviously. And he rubbed me the wrong way. I felt like he came in and wasn't respectful of what all of us had just been through. Our teacher had just passed away, and he wasn't just our teacher. Like, I loved his classes more than any class I've ever taken. And so it was just really hard to come to terms with the fact that this guy was going to be our new teacher. And I just didn't enjoy his classes, and I never thought that they were fun, and I just thought that his combinations they didn't speak to me in the way that Mr. Long's combinations did. And my love for ballet really dwindled my senior year of high school. But I still kept in mind that being a ballet dancer was what I wanted. And in school, I wasn't doing well. I never liked school. I got good grades, but I felt like I would save everything to the last minute or I wouldn't study at all, and I just felt like I breezed through it. I don't know how I got good grades because I hated it. I got to school late all the time, constantly. I was barely ever on time. And so I really hated school. And all these people who were applying to colleges, I was applying to colleges as well. In the back of my mind, I was like, this is not what I want. I don't want to go to college. I want to dance. I really did make ballet my everything. It was everything. Senior year especially, I stopped the friendships that I had with people in high school because I never really felt like I found a connection in high school. I maybe had one really good friend who I really liked, and then the other people I was just friends with because they were there and I had to talk to them. Whereas my ballet friends, I loved them. I had a really special connection with a lot of people in my ballet class. And we were together way more than I was with the people in school. So it was just, I always wanted to go to ballet, and I was always thinking about ballet. And so I made it everything. I made little time for anything else. And it was all that I wanted. It was all that I wanted. It was the number one on the top of my list of all that I wanted. So audition season came around, and I auditioned for a lot of summer intensives, but there was one in particular, Pittsburgh Ballet Theater. I went to the summer intensive audition, and they were also looking for people to join their graduate program, which is like a traineeship with Pittsburgh Ballet Theater, with the actual company. So like here in Chicago, Joffrey Ballet is the most famous ballet company, and Joffrey Ballet has a school. So the school has a summer intensive. So the summer intensive that I was auditioning for was at Pittsburgh. It was at Pittsburgh Ballet Theater, but it's kind of dissociated with the company, but the graduate program is definitely a traineeship with the company, so that's more dancing with the company. So the summer intensive is what I was auditioning for, but they were also looking for people to join their graduate program, which is during the year. So my senior year, I went to audition, and at the audition, after the audition, I was told that I got a spot in the graduate program. I was like the happiest person in the world. That meant that I had something to go to after graduation that wasn't college. I was on my way to being a professional ballerina, and I was like, this is incredible. I don't have to be like, I don't know what I'm doing after high school. I don't have to be like, I'm not going to college after high school. I didn't have to be like, I'm gonna try to dance after high school. I like had it. I was going to Pittsburgh Ballet Theater, and I was gonna spend a year with Pittsburgh Ballet Theater. So I think I'm gonna stop there, and I'm going to talk about my experience being more of a professional ballerina in the next video. I don't think that I covered like nearly everything. There's so much. But if you have any questions that you want me to talk about in the next video that I didn't address here, please ask them, because it's really all over the place. I will talk to you in the next video. Bye guys!